He has looked it over. He had a few comments, and so I've made adjustments and so on. So, now's kind of the time. If there's any, whether it's a typo or a major error or something, let me know. And then what I had told Katie after I got the email that I would look over the next half of the list to see, kind of how much more it would be for me to do. So I did end up already getting 7 out of the 10 roughed out. So
You're awesome.
It really
Yeah, like seriously, thank you.
I've enjoyed it, and I figured
Yeah.
I've already been, knee deep in it for almost 2 months now, and so a lot of the preliminary time was just absorbing all the material, and so I've already done that. So I thought, well, it'll probably just be faster if I did the rest. So what I'm going to try to do, because obviously both final drafts were due today, I'm just going to try to hammer this out, and I know that kind of might put us off a little bit for
I mean, I
ordering
think
the
it'll be
plaques.
okay ultimately. I mean, given how much you were able to complete in such a short period of time, I mean, I don't feel like it's gonna push us off by too much.
Okay.
So I will definitely include, because we have a regular meeting next week. So I'll include the ones that you're complete with, and that'll give everybody a chance to kind of do the last minute nitty gritty, picky, whatever.
Okay.
And then if you want to just bring whatever you have done, like, to the meeting,
Okay.
because I'll actually be doing those packets tomorrow, so you won't have enough time. Not enough time.
No.
But if you could just bring whatever you do have done to that meeting, then we can review the rest.
Okay.
And it won't be like the final version, but I feel like it'll be close. I have to schedule a special meeting anyways for a CFO or CFA that's coming, that I just received. So there's potential we'll have a meeting like mid-month that we would be able to do to review the second half in a more complete form. And then I feel like we'd still be fairly on track. Yeah, and then we would kind of just push it out to the group as a whole to work on the narratives that'll be connected to the QR codes. Because then they'll be able to see what you've come up with for the plaques themselves. And then I can give everybody access to that larger drive that Mr. Branting shared with us that has all the other information. And that way we can figure out the narratives that will be accessed that way, and making those kind of cohesive.
And I did make, because I've been dealing with it all, I have made notes and ideas and suggestions for QR codes. Because we talked about, if we can, having photos of the people who built it. And also most of them, I think there is a photo for most of the contractors, not all of them, but that we can use. And then there's just a lot of different exterior building shots. There's interior. Also on the drive is a bunch of articles. So that's where I've taken some of the information, but I don't know that they're really, most of it's not really interesting enough for QR code. But then there's some ideas, so like the Eichenberger building, that's the problem. There was some information at the Davies building that there had been some raids there during Prohibition. So I thought that would be kind of a neat thing to maybe get into for that building, but also just for Lewiston in general. The Grosstein building, I think it was, originally that site had packing sheds for the mules that would load up and leave Lewiston. So I thought that might be kind of a good place to put some other pictures of just mule trains and maybe discuss that a little bit.
Where they were going, that kind of thing.
Yeah, where they were going and some of what that looked like. And of course, there's some, pack train leaders, that would do some of that, and they have their own stories. So, there's a few things like that. I do have permission in writing from Steve to use a page out of his book for one of these buildings. They're all kind of swimming here. Butler. Anyway, the one where we had the interesting thing happen. They had the barber shop where that murder happened, the Denton Butler, and the oddity that was in there. So he did give us permission, so we can just take that page and put it on the QR code so they can look at it and read it if they want, but people don't have to walk by the plaque every time they go home
Right.
and see.
See that stated right
See,
there.
see what
Well,
happened.
Well, and that might also be, we had talked to Mr. Brantine before, and I don't think he had come up with a concrete answer yet of how he would like to be recognized for his assistance. And so if we're doing things like that, I think that would be an easy way to be like, if you want to learn more,
Yes.
and a link to where you could purchase the book, or just a reference that this page came from a book by, it's called this, you could purchase it wherever, blah, blah. That might be another way besides just honoring him in the QR code sections.
Right.
Yeah, that would be good. One thing I was curious about is how IT is going to want things. So we've got all that on the drive. So let's say we're wanting to use, 6 pictures for this building. And we're gonna have a little bit of narrative. How is it going to be easiest to transmit that to them? Are we gonna give them access to the drive?
I don't know, we haven't
Do we
haven't
do a
discussed that
layout
part.
in
Like, 'cause we
Word
discussed the QR codes and having each one go to its own page, and they were like, okay, that's easy for us to do. We did not talk to, I told them that we had things in PDF, and that we would be rewriting some of the narratives and that there would be photos, but we haven't had a conversation regarding like how it's easiest for them to get that information. So I'll put that on my list of things to find out from them.
That's a very good point, because IT can, or just the computer stuff all around.
Yeah, because it's one thing, because I've had to build like my website for my business, but I was all doing it on the same computer, so I just went from the file. So with having to skip a step, I don't know which is better
Right.
for them.
I'll find out.
To consolidate it, put it on another drive? I don't know.
Yeah, or I don't know if they need access to it and then like on a Word file have like, let's say Kettenbach portrait, and then on the Word document have a text box with the narrative. And then next, we're gonna want a picture of the building, and kind of describe what photo we
Well,
want to
so
use.
for I know, like when I update things like on the HPC webpage, so Word documents are probably gonna be easiest, because usually like any of the text sections are done directly into the page, like you edit it direct into it. So that would be like a copy and paste situation. And then
Photos get dicey because they've been
photos get dicey. I'm
uploaded
trying to remember
different
how I
ways,
did
and they degrade, and when you keep moving them around.
Right, so I don't know if those need to be a JPEG or.
I bet after researching some of the buildings do have probably more colorful
Oh, yeah.
history.
Yeah, and it's like, what do you put on there? Some already have the information from an existing plaque, but then there's others, like how much do you discuss on a permanent plaque on the side of the building?
Yeah,
So
I would
kinda
say the
save
QR code is gonna be
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
interesting.
because like the Kettenbach building had a lot of the prostitution, and
Right.
so that would be more discussed in the QR
QR
code
code, yes.
rather than
Rather than
slap it on the side of the building,
Yeah,
Some of the owners might
yeah, they
take
might.
exception to it.
And then others, someone
maybe
welcome
not.
them. Yes,
Go for
exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's all perspective.
Whatever attracts people.
Well,
Okay, I did ask Steve
Different
about
things
the
at
whole
different
Adams
times.
block issue. So he said that the building west of the brand new one is the Adams block. So that is owned by the college, and they have, I think, dorms up there, and adult learning is down there. So I'm pretty comfortable that what I've written is accurate.
That's correct, okay.
Because the new dorm just replaced the Weisgerber, and then the building next to it did burn, had some damage that
I had to redo.
they redid, and so that is the Adams block.
Fantastic.
And was there anything else? with the commercial trust, I went ahead and went with 1905. That's also when the Society of Architectural Historians has it listed.
Okay.
So that's when it was started. It wasn't finished till 1907, but we did. I did have on number 4 listed as 305. That was Steve's comment. So I'm not sure what he meant by that, if that's, is it currently 305 or,
No, it's 301, 311.
okay.
Um,
So 305, I'm not sure where he's saying that was listed at, unless it was that architecture.
Well, but there are, there's a couple of buildings that, and I think we talked about this at one of the other meetings, that started out as one number and are now known as a different number.
Right, there's quite a few of those, but I don't know why he
It
had
might
that
have,
there.
the numbers might have changed if they, for some reason, they had to go in and put in a firewall.
Oh, okay.
So then they
Yeah,
consider
especially,
it
I
a
mean,
separate.
so Morgan's Alley
address.
was more than one building.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Actually, to kind of help me on this next batch, I was kind of wondering how we wanting to handle the territorial capitol building. The existing sign that's out there is kind of saying in this vicinity, there's
Yeah,
a
and so that was the
blah, blah,
idea,
blah.
so we weren't gonna put it on, that one we have to figure out, because we weren't necessarily gonna put it on the building, because it's meant to mark a site.
This is, the one we're doing is marking a site?
Because that's what it is on the walking tour map, is it marks a
because
site.
originally, wasn't it over where the buses are stored next to this building?
Yeah, I think it's like,
Well, there's some debate on that.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's somewhere in that,
Well, you
So-
can even put that in there. This isn't debated.
Yeah, because I
Well-
think maybe the actual replica, the building that the replica is copying was actually over where the recyclers are.
oh, okay.
I think it had actually been there, but then there's obviously what was actually used as the Capitol building, you know, there's that kind of thing that's going on there with Steve. So I don't know that we want to put the original site being that building over there.
Right,
We could just put in that it's a replica.
That's
Which-
what I was kind of working around going, okay, this building is a replica.
And with the
right, I
original
mean, that might
site,
be.
the original site is thought to be,
So many yards
Wherever.
north or
Yeah.
south of here,
Yeah,
and, you know, because we can say, you know, the replica was built, and they'll have to check 2000 something. And, but then say, you know, the original building was built in blah, 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 blah. And obviously, if it's in the, if we put that sign close to the Capitol replica, then they can get more information there. But we can just give the basics here. So I was just kind of trying to
I like
figure
that
out
idea
how
of
to
doing it
handle
that
it.
way,
Okay.
yeah,
that
identifying
way
the
if
building
it gets
itself.
moved again, well, the sign's still applicable.
Yeah. So we'll have to decide, because they may not want it on the building.
Yeah, when I have not, I mean, when I sent those letters out, that was about the same time that Mary broke her leg. So I have not heard from them or from Dr. Miller or anyone else, so I need to reach out to them.
They might be willing to do like a kiosk next to the building that we could put the plaque on that.
Or maybe just even like a post,
Yeah,
you know, in
yeah.
front of the
Okay.
building, the sink a post, I mean,
Right.
and just so keep it off the face, but have it right there.
Something
Right,
that they
yeah,
could,
just a
something that they could move later on if they have to, for whatever reason.
Okay, so I'll treat it as the replica,
Yes.
and let me see if I had any other. Oh, and I can't remember, you know, I worked there for years, so it's kind of silly that I don't, but is it Third with a number or Third spelled for the street out here? It's a problem.
Right.
Because we would have people going to the address of the museum, there's a one up on the
Right,
Third
'cause,
Street up
yep.
there, so people would call from Normal Hill going, where's the museum? And Mary kept fighting with Google, trying to get him to change
Right.
it.
I
and
need to go check.
I guess my car's parked out there, if I remember, I'll just go and look,
Whatever,
but
yeah.
I can't remember if it's spelled or if it's a number. I feel like it's a number.
I feel it's a number.
And the spelled out number is at the top.
Yes. I think
And we
that
do
that's
want
how-
the 0 because that is how the Postal Service has it. That's for Old City Hall. So that would be third.
I do have a question, Leah.
Yes.
So I'm looking at these, which are awesome, and I think I kind of like the date on top for some reason, but some of the narrative, some of them are a little lengthier than others. Are they gonna fit?
We're probably just gonna have to adjust the size. So this is, this is done in like just a Word document, so this is just me messing around with it, right?
Okay.
Because I wanted the group to, and we'll.
Okay,
do this again.
now I got you.
Yep, so the,
So there's gonna be plenty of room.
yeah, cause we'll probably mess with the sizes. This was just based off of what, Dr. Brantine had said that he has done size-wise on other plaques. So I used those. This is actually a little bit smaller than the 72, cause otherwise building doesn't fit on there and then it looks weird. But so we might look at making the address and the date smaller, so that there is more room for the narrative. And then there might play with placement so that we'll have space for that QR code to go on there also.
I think originally we had talked about thinking it was a maximum of 800 characters. And I don't know that anything is much over 6. I don't think I
Oh,
hit 7
sweet.
anywhere.
It was just
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that was,
because they're all awesome and it would,
I think the address could definitely be shortened because people will be standing there at the address.
Right.
yeah, they could be small. I like the date being a little bigger, like being obvious, because it just, I think that's some of the things that attract people. When you go, when the first thing is like 1907, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, right?
So you're kind of thinking if we did the date on top, then having like Lewiston seal and then the
And
QR.
the QR code, and so
Yeah.
maybe make this smaller, and then you leave these two pieces there, and then this would just get scooted up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that would work. Okay, I can fiddle with that, and bring that to the,
So even if we had to, God forbid, push it out another month, they still would have 2 months to make the plaques.
I think we'd still be okay.
Okay.
They knock stuff out pretty fast up there.
Yeah, they weren't concerned about how much lead time when I kind of gave her the, here's what we're thinking for time-wise, and she was like, oh yeah, we'll make that work.
Will they send a mock-up before they?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, they always do. And I told her because we would have so many and they would all be a little bit different, she was like, yeah, we can just make sure that that works for all of them. Because when I had first counted, based off of the one mock-up that they had sent me, and I counted all the spaces, I was like, okay, so we know that this is like our goal to stay under this. I was like, but we'll have some that are shorter and some that are bigger and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah, we'll just send you all of them and then you'll check all of them before they go to print.
Okay.
So I don't think that part's a problem. Okay, did you have in other?
Um, Thankfully, a lot of the buildings on the next list were still on some of the walking tours, so that's where a lot of the
Yeah, so there it had.
narrative I have. Then there was 3 that already had plaques, so I had to cross out all the narrative. Come up with something new. But, yeah, there's an address difference from the Bell Building address has changed from the walking tour map, so we'll go with the one that we have now. So I think that's everything that I was.
I was just thinking that some of the addresses might have changed when they when they annexed the orchards and changed some of the street names. They also probably changed some of the addresses and
There you go.
along the way.
I have.
Of anything. So I emailed everybody letting you all know that Peggy's having to step down. She has some health problems going on right now. So Leah's graciously taken on all of the narrative.
Which is
work
amazing.
For the flags, because
Yeah.
she's a crazy person, but we appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, so our regular HPC meeting is next week, so we will have on that agenda at least the first 13 narratives, so we'll get those reviewed. So that'll be good, and then like I mentioned, I do have a certificate of appropriateness that was recently turned in. And so rather than make those gentlemen wait until the March meeting, I'll try to set up a special meeting mid-month so that we can do that. So if that's possible, then I might try to, if Leah can get them done,
The
Might
only
try to
thing
look at the
is that if
second.
it's the 16th, I may not be able to be here.
Okay.
And that would be the Thursday, mid-month, so.
Well, we'll see what people have available, and I have to see what the room availability is here. So I'll probably have a couple of dates for people.
Is that Thursday? I would.
So I'll put out a couple of options for that. Other than that, our next subcommittee meeting is scheduled currently for February 13th.
Real quick.
Uh-huh.
So, I took a position at Sylvan's.
Okay.
And so I made sure that I blocked out Thursdays for
Okay.
HPC.
Super.
So if we have special committees or something that, that's gonna be the day that I can
There you can go
go. So Thursdays is gonna be my day, basically, to
to do that stuff.
be available for those kind of things, yes.
Very good. Okay, if we moved that meeting, that would fall on the day that you can't go. So let's keep that one on the 13th, if that works for everybody, if that works for Leah. I need that to work for Leah.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's be
I
honest,
think we're at that
love the
spot
rest
where.
of you, but I need that to work for Leah.
Yeah. No offense.
Yes, that'll work for me, and Thursdays, basically, except for the first Thursday, are generally not good for me, but they are for the next month, but starting in March, they probably won't be, so we'll have to
So there's,
duke it out,
but,
Tuesday,
so first
Thursday.
but Thursdays all around or just that first Thursday?
Generally, Tuesdays and Thursdays don't work for me, but they have been for the last couple of months, my schedule shifted.
Okay,
But I always block out the first
so
Thursday.
let's do this, cause if we need to, I'll just work out changing my day off. Cause I get one day off during the week and then on Sunday, so.
Well,
Well, and I don't know if
actually,
it's-
even if it's later in the day, it's the mornings that are
Oh, and
off
we-
limits.
We could do that. We
Okay.
could move it.
Because Thursday would work if it was that afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Absolutely, so
let's
cool,
go-
all right.
Let's go with the standard, February 13th.
Okay.
At 10 a.m.
Yes.
We're gonna do that. And then we can discuss at that meeting if we want to change to another day and time for subcommittee meetings.
Okay.
Because if we need to do that, we can do that.
Yeah.
That's not that big of a deal. I just need to make sure we have availability of room and IT has the availability to live stream us.
Okay.
And the meetings are always better when we can get all the peoples here,
Yes.
always better.
Agreed. Okay, so, super. Anything else for the good of the order? I think we're chugging along really good. I have my assignments for checking on a couple things with IT. I'll have some updates regarding the outreach stuff at next week's regular meeting, and some kind of assignments to the group as a whole to help complete that outreach. So we'll go from there. Yeah, I think that's all I have unless
Do
anybody
you have
else.
some assignments?
Not yet, because Leah's gonna complete the other narratives. These will go on the
I was
standard
just saying,
meeting.
what you have coming up.
Well, I haven't completed
For the
those,
outreach,
which is
yeah.
why they're gonna be on the next meeting.
This is awesome.
Okay, I feel like we're still making good progress, so, okay. Unless anybody else has anything, you could
Just
get a motion to,
I have a motion to adjourn.
before we adjourn,
Yes.
would like to make comment that this will be my last meeting with the Historic Commission. And
well, you're gonna come to the February meeting. I need you to come to the February meeting.
okay.
You are coming to the February meeting.
By the way,
Well,
Chet, we'll see you on the third.
And then,
Yes, ma'am.
then you are free of us, okay? But I need you to come to the February meeting.
But anyway, it's been an enjoyable experience. And really appreciate that everybody's taken an interest in maintaining some of the historical information for next generations.
Yeah. Crucial stuff.
All new people.
Thank you,
Yes,
Chet, for all the years of your service
yes.
with HBC and for the community.
I've
so-
enjoyed it, really I have.
Good.
Although sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes.
No.
But
What are you talking about?
not here, I mean, in
Public
council
service.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah. It's been an interesting experience. I tell you what, I wish, we really wish there was some way that the city could educate the general populace some of the restrictions that we're under, as far as things that we can or cannot do legally.
In
Because
regards
there's a lot of misunderstanding that people think you can just do whatever, and you can't.
Yeah.
And then the other one I've found several times is people are on the impression that the tax money goes into one pot and the city just pulls it out as needed. And it doesn't work that way. We've got several different sources of money, and each one of them has certain criteria that you have to meet in order to use that money. And a lot of folks don't understand that. I know I didn't when I first came in.
Oh, I was pretty raw when I first started commission. I had all kinds of crazy ideas about what, I've kind of settled in, but, I'm still always gonna be that advocacy guy, because I think that's something that I think we should probably just do more of as a commission. And as a community,
Yeah.
even teaming with the Historical Society, this is great, because this is we can build those relationships and, I think the more we talk about history,
Well, the
the
more
more
we
people
talk
will
about,
actually,
the more we
more
talk
people are
about,
talking about it, I guess.
about city functions entirely.
Yeah.
But for right now, the focus is on the history, but yeah, for all of the
Yeah.
services and stuff that are
Absolutely.
going on. The restraints that they're put under,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
We could have been talking about putting a plaque on the water tank,
Oh,
but we don't want to talk about it, it's too soon.
yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. I had to do it.
Well, of course,
I know.
I guess I could take the blame for it.
Too soon. Too soon.
What is
What's the scuttlebutt on the water problem?
What do you mean, a scuttlebutt?
I mean, is it gonna be fixed soon?
I
I heard a
have no
month
idea.
yesterday.
I have absolutely no idea.
Well,
My-
it's gonna take
That's
quite a while.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're not
nothing.
gonna be able to fix that
Yeah,
overnight.
they
So
have
that means
they
I'm
have to,
gonna be
like-
boiling water for a long time.
They have to reroute,
Well, they're
they have to
working
take
on-
that reservoir completely offline and
Right.
reroute.
Katie,
around
like
it.
Katie's saying, they're gonna try to reroute it so that the boiling water will come off and they'll have it temporary while they're doing the reconstruction of the reservoir.
Well, first they had to isolate that
Yeah.
particular.
Right,
Let's adjourn and then we'll.
Yeah, no, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
And I second.
Yeah.
Everybody good with it?
Favor?
We're good.
All in favor?
So yeah, I'm glad Thursday afternoons would work because I'm twice as ornery in the afternoon.